Hello, welcome back to the Care and Conversation studio with a man whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce is with us. Pint? No, that's fine.
York, you got it easy. You got a one-syllable name.
Yeah.
So my name's Geraint. I'm a bit of a geek working in social care. And yeah, excited to be here. Excited to be at the Care Show. Great to be seeing you again.
Perfect, right. So we're here to talk about learning disabilities and autism. So we had a quick chat about that. Obviously you work in technology. Do you want to first off just tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, great idea. So I run a company called Guided Innovation. We help care companies to digitalize. So all day long, people come to me and say, Geraint, help. I've got a problem with X, Y, Z, medication administration, agency use, well-being of staff. And I look for digital and tech-led solutions for them. And they're very innovative, and we come up with new models of care and all sorts of really exciting stuff. Love that you've picked up on kind of learning disabilities and autism. This is an area that Guided Innovations found itself working in way more in 2024 than we've ever done before. Traditionally elderly care and things like that and dementia, but actually acquired brain injury, learning disabilities, autism is fascinating for innovation. So York, let's give you one example. So the digital divide is huge amongst people with learning disabilities. Other citizens get the luxury of accessing social media, having mobile devices, the freedom to access all data all the time and add to that data pool to share their views and opinions. People with learning disabilities don't often have that. So we've been having the absolute pleasure of working with an organization who's actually developed a social media platform for people with learning disabilities. So it's a safe, regulated area where people can share their views, connect with people, and what you got from it was nothing we expected. We thought it would be a play area for people sharing ideas and views. Instead, we've had people going, hey, anyone fancy a date? And someone going, all right, and them going on a date together. We've had people going, hi, to the carer that's coming to see me today, I'd like to do this. Self-setting of a care plan and support plan, which is amazing. We've had people putting on there their hopes and dreams. I'd love to go to Glastonbury. Hey, me too. Me 3. 6 people went to Glastonbury this year.
Wow.
From it. So yeah, this is just scratching the surface of kind of tech in that space.
That's really interesting. I think, I always talk about the idea of the care sector, the sort of adult elderly care sector is the poor cousin of the NHS. Then the learning disabilities is the evil stepson they've locked in the loft, right? It gets even less attention, but it's much more. There's hundreds of thousands of people in this sector that need a lot of care and can live beautiful existences as well. So it's a really really interesting area, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is fascinating, and interestingly, you can open the doors out of the sector, out into the general public. The phenomenal number of people who live with disabilities, like you and me, and people walking around the show today. If we can tap into their amazing personalities and ideas and enable them through the use of technology, it really makes a much wider ecosystem. And, the UK could be cutting edge for this kind of stuff. We are quite good, I have to say, I have to acknowledge that. As a government, we are not too bad at acknowledging learning disabilities. Funding it, not so great. Hopefully that will change. I really do hope.
Yeah, I mean, they're not great at funding anything, but,
No, that's not good. Funding it, regulating it, or anything.
Well, talking about regulation then, so we touched on CQC in our conversation before. What's your thoughts? What's going on? It's obviously...
Yeah, look, you've got CQC,
time.
you've got Care Inspectorate Wales, you've got Care Inspectorate in Scotland. There's a number of regulators across the UK. CQC have generally been the one that change first. They've often changed frameworks and done new things, and the rest of the UK watch, learn from the mistakes and do it better. And CQC have done the same this time round. The framework is incredibly disappointing. Their implementation of it, even more so. I feel for care providers right now. I really feel. Right now, sorry care providers, you don't need to be regulated by CQC, you need to protect yourself from CQC. But York, let me be positive as well. CQC are listening to this, and they're changing.
They just literally posted a blog on their website about how they are listening and they're trying to do things differently, and they've taken that on board, and they've got some new senior people coming in, and so obviously they're taking it. They're not doing what a typical government agency might do, which is just like shut the door and go, la, 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 I'm not listening.
That's exactly right. So look, if I can talk specifically to those of you that are at the Care Show today and tomorrow, please find CQC stand. They're in the room. Go. I mean,
that's something to be said, that they actually come.
Yeah, Isn't it? Yeah. It looks like a bunker. They're hiding. No, it's not true. But please go. They're listening. Talk to them. They'll take it on, I'm sure. I am sure.
And I, in that process, discovered that CQC inspectors are actually human beings. Like, they're real people. They're there, and they're real humans. And, the things that work for real humans work. And I think that's a part of the settings I've got to think about, is that, this is a person coming. Yeah. So I want to try and make their life as easy as possible, because I've had mixed feedback on the framework. Some people quite like it. Some people think, actually, you know what? I understand. And I think when you look at it holistically, where it puts the feedback at the centre, whereas before it was more about kind of what have you done for this? Have you ticked this box? Have you ticked that box? For me, obviously I'm from the outside of it and don't really necessarily understand the bones of it. But people I've spoken to, some people have said they quite like it.
Yeah, I'll acknowledge that. I love the I statements. I love the feedback. I love the equity it talks about quite regularly. I really like all that. My nervousness came when I realised, as a care operator, you do a lot of that anyway. You are amazing. But now CQC want you to record it and evidence it. For me, that takes the fun out of it. When you've done something wonderful with an elderly lady on a trip to the seaside where she got, met her husband, to then go, did you enjoy yourself? Out of 5? That's my worry with the framework.
Yeah. I guess, there's some things in life that maybe you don't want to ask for a score on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. But let me be the geek. Let me bring this back to technology if I can. What I can firmly say with the CQC regulation is technology is going to support you. They've been very open with, we want to be data-led. We want to make insight and decisions of how you care from data. So get data ready for that. If you have manual processes and paper, and I do count Word and Excel and OneDrive as paper because it's manual, you've got to collate it. You're going to have to get an intern in to collate it, to self-regulate, because I know it's coming. If you've digitalized your meds, your rosters, your HR, your care plans, your risk assessments, you're ahead. You're ready. So, please don't sit back and wait for what CQC want. You can predict. They're going to want you to be using technology.
Yeah. So know how to pump out that report that tells you how much in agency usage you're doing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, show them on any day, on any hour of any day, what agency percentage were you at and why, and what was the agency member's name. Tick all that quickly with them, and it gives them that assurance. That's what they're looking for, is assurance. If you go to the car boot to get a file out to answer it, you're doomed.
It's interesting. A friend of mine was looking for care for his mum, and one of the main things he looks at is how much agency staff they use, because he's like, if they use lots of agency staff, I don't feel comfortable with the quality of the care.
I'll help your friend. 3 questions to ask.
Yeah.
What agency use have you got in your home? How long has the registered manager been in post? If it's less than 6 months, be concerned. And the third one, if they'll tell you, med errors.
Okay.
I don't care what their med errors are, whether it's 0 or 100. Believe it or not, I don't care. What I care about is trend. Is it going up? Is it staying the same?
Yeah.
Is it going down? If it's going up and they have agency use and the manager's been in less than 6 months, look for another home.
Yeah. And I guess ultimately you can judge, even if they won't tell you the information, you can judge by how they respond to you.
Easily.
Easily.
A great one. I forget her name. I'm really sorry. There was a lady that was, I don't know if she still is, in charge of care inspector at Wales. And she said, at every conference she went to, she said the same thing. Please, when you walk through any care setting, check the fingernails. Just check the fingernails. If residents have dirty fingernails, you can assume the attention to detail that staff have in that home isn't where it needs to be. You can assume they're not taking the time to prepare meals properly, or care for them, or wash them, or get them out of bed. Look at the fingernails. So it's these little hints as you walk around.
Yeah, because buying care for your loved one is probably one of the most difficult things you're ever going to have to buy. You take buying a home or buying a car and times that by 5 or 10, and then wrap a whole load of negative emotions around it, because you probably, in all honesty, don't want to do it, and you're kind of having to because you can't deliver the care that your loved one needs, right?
Yeah, I've just gone through that experience with my father this year, and you're right, it's really difficult, really tough. There's a veneer on the front of a care operator that suggests it's brilliant and wonderful and the place for your dad, until you scratch the surface of it. But yeah, it's fascinating.
I'm sorry, I work in marketing for care homes, so part of that is my job. But ultimately, we find out quite quickly if we go into an organisation and it's not very good, you end up not being able to make a very good video, because the teams don't really like working for the company. The residents they put forward don't really have anything good to say. And quite quickly you end up sort of making a fairly weak bit of content.
You do yourself a disservice by calling yourself marketing.
Yeah.
I'm such an advocate for 5 on a bike and the way you operate. What you don't do is go into a care operator, find out what the directors want and deliver it. You go deep into the daily operations of the care company, the vulnerable people that live there and the angels that support them, and you uncover that. They can't hide from you, and you do these heartfelt, honest, open videos which are fantastic.
And as well, quite a lot of the organisations we work with are happy to hear feedback from their customers, right? And I guess that's really what the new framework for the CQC does, is it just puts that feedback front and centre. It sort of forces you, and I know as a business owner it's hard to ask your customer, was there anything I can do better for this, right? Because there probably is, right? There almost always is going to be, and it can be hard to ask that question.
Yeah, but know that it will never be your shirt. They will always say, don't change your shirt, it's awesome.
I don't know, some people might. Right, well, lovely. Thank you for coming in to the studio.
Absolute pleasure.
And I hope you have a successful rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Right, we'll be back shortly.